Welcome back to Mountain Connections. We are honored to have author Joan Tabb here in studio. She came in town to do an event at the library, which was last night, but she has written this book about retiring, which she prefers to call revitalizing. I'm looking forward to talking with her about everything she has done in her career. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. Yes, I named this new stage of life revitalment because a lot of people had negative connotations about the word retirement. It has the word tired in it, right?
It does.
And revitalment came to be because it's about vitality. It's about this new opportunity stage of life that people never had before.
I really like that term. My parents recently went through this transition, and it was a real struggle for them to even think about retirement and think about that life change. So tell me a little bit about this book and why you decided to write it.
Yes, and I do want to tell you the statistics. I've done a lot of research in this area. When people retire, they have a 45% chance of slipping into clinical depression. So smart people like your parents realize this is a huge transition and there could be peril, but I say there also could be tremendous opportunity. So this book came out of working with a lot of people in my executive coaching practice and realizing they had a lot of apprehension, just like your parents. What comes next? And I thought, why do they have this? So I researched this area and I found out we are living much longer and much healthier than any generation ever has. We're pioneers at this new stage of life. And just as we plan for our academic career and our regular work career, we need to plan for this stage of life. We are living on average 25 years longer than our grandparents. When Social Security was first established in 1935, the average life expectancy was 58. So people worked until they basically died. And now we have this extra 15, 20, sometimes 25 years, and how do we best fill it? And that's the question this book answers.
And I think so many people prepare for retirement in a financial way. But
Exactly.
You're focusing on preparing in an emotional way.
Emotional, and how do you use that great gift of time? The burden of time or the gift of time,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So I always start out by saying, I'm not a financial person. Don't look to this book for financial advice. But if you live in Park City, the librarian there was excellent. There's a big table up front in the library with about a dozen books. Half of them are on financial planning and for retirement, okay? So that's there. This does not cover that. But what I did is I interviewed over 100 people, some here in Park City, to find out what are the building blocks, the essential areas one should look into in building a productive, fun, and meaningful life in that stage of revitlement.
So important. And you came here for an event at the Park City Library. What are some things you shared at that event last night?
Well, first I want to say it was standing room only. And Kate Mapp, who's the head of Library Adult Services, she's terrific. And when she met with me a number of months ago, she said, Joan, this is going to go over big in this town. We have a lot of very active, healthy people who are in that age group. But we thought maybe we'd get 20 people. We had over 40.
Wow.
So it does turn out I'm coming back next year to do it again, for those of you who missed my talk and workshop. So what was your question again?
Just some quick points of what you shared last night and what we can learn more about in your book.
Okay, what you can learn more about. There are a couple of the building blocks that I think are essential for everybody to know about. One is about service and giving back and how important that is. And the research shows that you get the pleasure sensors in your brain light up when you're doing volunteer work, meaningful volunteer work, as much as the pleasure sensors for food and sex. That's a big thing, right? So not only are you helping your community, but you're also helping yourself and helping your emotional, psychological well-being when you give back. That's a building block that is so essential. And one woman from Park City volunteered to say, you know, you don't need to go that far. What about helping a neighbor? She helps her neighbor who has cancer. She takes her to chemo appointments, helps make meals. So when you say community service, it doesn't have to be on a big national level or even a town level. It can be helping a neighbor. That makes you feel good and it helps them.
That's an incredible suggestion. Let's back up a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your career. You worked a lot before you started writing your books.
Right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm a real integration of the analytical business side and the creative people fun side. So I'm sort of a combination of the two. I love people, but I also have a good business mind. So I earned a master's degree in something called instructional technology, which is training, which integrates really analytical business. How do you really get people empowered to learn new skills? Also, you have to put some creativity into it too to make it fun and interesting for adult learners. So I ended up having a Silicon Valley career heading up training. Like I was at Apple to launch the Macintosh computer, and I did all the training for them. And then I loved working closer to the customer and ended up building several global marketing programs. So after I worked at Apple, Intel, 3Com, Memorex, and then I decided, this is what I was telling you when we were chatting, the economic downturn happened. And I said to my husband, for at least a year, I'm going to earn no money. I know how to put people back to work. And I built all these employment networks, and Congresswoman Jackie Spear found out about me, and I ended up being her boot camp trainer, basically. And I helped put a lot of people back to work, and that's when I made the observation, I think as a trainer, that there were 8 things that separated the good from the great job seekers, who was getting the job and who wasn't. And I wrote my first book, Great in 8 Job Seeking Skills. And I put it in the same format that I did here, where here are the 8 points, and then at the end of each chapter there are questions where you apply it to your personal situation. So I know that adult learners like things fun and interesting. So after everybody does. So and fun and bright pictures and short, not too long. So a funny anecdote is when I did a lot of talks for Great in 8 Job Seeking Skills, I would hold up Robert Bowles' book, What Color is Your Parachute? And it's now 1,000 pages. And I'd hold up my book, which is 100 pages. I'd say, which would you prefer to dive into? So I think short and sweet is really good when you're training anybody and when you want to really get key ideas across and behavioral change.
So you wrote these 2 books based on what you learned during your career, but you also offer individual coaching, is that true?
Yes. So after I did the career helping people get back to work, I said to my husband, I think I'm done with corporate life. I think what I'd like to do is be an individual coach, because empowering people one-on-one makes me feel so satisfied. And I also feel like I have a lot of intuition, and I've seen a lot, like when I was in management, I love to develop people. So I started my career in executive coaching practice, which I've had now for about 12 years. That's Great in 8 coaching. And now I cover from career launch to advancement to transition, and now this transition into revitalment. So I have the whole career life cycle for people, and I've added on this new part, and I've tried to make it fun and easy by breaking it into the 8 essential components.
This has been such a great conversation. Where can people learn more about your books and everything that you offer?
Well, and I've been out there in TV and radio. It seems this is a very hot topic now, which excites me. They can just Google Joan Tabb, Joan Tabb. I've also written over 100 career articles. I am Dear Coach Joan Career Advice. So you can learn everything you need to know. If you want personal help, contact me. I love to coach people. I coach people all over the world, both in person and by phone and Skype. So I'm available, and I do consulting, training, workshops. I love doing it all. I love helping people.
Perfect. Well, we loved having you here in studio. Come back. Will you come back when you're
Thank
back
you.
in Park City?
Absolutely. We'll have a follow-on, and I love the
Yes.
Park City people.
Well, we enjoyed having you here, and people are excited to hear what you have
And
to say.
there's a book for you, and share it with
Thank
your
you.
parents, please.
I will, absolutely.
Good.
This is Joan's newest book, Building Blocks for the New Retirement. She wrote this book because so many people do not relate to the current retirement paradigm. So revitalize, don't retire. And if you want to find out more about Joan, Google Joan Tabb. Lots of great advice from someone who has been working in the trenches for many years. All right, we'll be back right after this quick break.